People want all of it now. Now. I don't want to wait. I just want to experience. I know I'm going to say lots of crazy things in this video, but this is for anybody who's looking for just one reason not to give up on their dreams. And I know when people try to encourage you, or when you try to encourage other people, it quite often has the opposite effect. We get all grandiose about it, and we start talking about like 20 years down the track, like the picture perfect image of a well-refined future self, and we lose sight of what's in front of us. And that's the step that we need to take right now, which is so unexciting. But if we can focus on that, we actually do find that motivation, and it's intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic means it comes from within. All this external stuff, like these big pictures of like achieving success and wealth and power or whatever it is that people think that they want, it's so weak. Like, it looks strong, it looks powerful, it's so exciting, it's so invigorating, but it invigorates a different part of us. It doesn't actually invigorate the part of us that gets shit done. In actual fact, and like this is one of the crazy things that I'm going to say, the more you can silence that, the faster you're going to actually move in the direction of what you actually want, because it's actually a distraction. All that excitement and euphoria and just like these high emotion feelings, like that motivation, inspiration, drive that people are looking for. They fill their news feeds with it on their social media. They watch all these motivational speakers. They go to a Tony Robbins event. They're like, yeah. That is a form of escapism. And it's no secret that I'm in this weird war with escapism, because in my own life, with so much introspection and reflection, sitting with myself, exploring what's inside of me, I repeatedly come to the realization that escaping the present moment is what is stopping me from everything. And it's still happening to this day. I still find myself escaping reality in all these different ways. So every time I find a new one, or I can articulate a new way that we're escaping from ourselves and actually robbing ourselves of our own joy and freedom, I have to highlight it. So there might be a million objections to that, like, oh, but you need motivation, you need inspiration, you need people who are demonstrating like the full potential of the human experience, what we're capable of. We need mentors, we need teachers, we need guidance, we need all these positive things. Absolutely we do. Like, you definitely don't want the other side of that coin, where you're just following or you're focusing on all of the most negative, detrimental stuff, all of the problems that need to be solved, all the challenges that need to be conquered. Like, it's the extremes that you don't want. You want to be in the center. You want to be in a place where there's nothing to react to, there's nothing to escape into. All the negative challenges and excuses and stuff, that's an escape into the negative. All the euphoria and inspiration, motivation, crazy, successful, super duper mega things, that's escapism into the positive place. But both of them, they're not where you are right now. If you're totally honest with yourself, you're not Tony Robbins. Like, why am I using that example? I'm sorry. It might, like, when you use really specific examples in the videos, it triggers very specific people. Like, just let it go. Like, don't take anything I say too seriously, because like I said, it's just me expressing what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. Escapism. I'm kind of in a weird mood this morning as well, because it's been a morning. Like, I went for my walk and I'm contemplating, and all of these ideas started coming through at once. I had like too many, which is like, it put me in that state of mind that I'm talking about, where I started to get really elevated, like really excited, and I was like, oh, so many ideas. And I got into that, like it like made me start to escape into the future. Like, I find myself contemplating like my ideal self, like what do I want to do? And I want to be able to like freestyle a 1 hour long video essay, like in one take, and then just send it to an editor to put all the visual aids to it. And then that can just be like the most like viral, super duper mega content. That's like what I'm practicing towards. But if I was stuck focusing on that, perfectionism is another thing that creeps in, where you're like, I can't make a video because I can't make that, or whatever your thing is. Like, a really good example is like people who want to get in shape. Like you might be really overweight, you know, like 150 kilos or something. So if you go to YouTube and you type in how to get a six-pack, and the first video comes up as a guy that's doing handstand push-ups, and like then he's like, now we're going to do the one-hand handstand push-ups, like that is going to destroy your motivation. That's a really good example of what I'm kind of illustrating here, or trying to demonstrate. You can't be that guy today. Like you can only be like a little bit better than you are right now. Like you can only move a little bit in that direction. So watching that video is useless. Like looking at that picture of the future is not actually helpful in this moment. You need to look at something like, how can I burn an extra 200 calories a day, which would just be like walking probably. Like go for a walk every day and do that every day. So the comparison between like doing handstand push-ups and going for a walk every day is the thing that you need to look at, because you want to do the handstand push-ups, you want to be that guy, but the more you look at that guy, the more you're going to realize that you can't be that guy. But the craziest thing is you actually can be that guy, but by focusing on that guy and losing yourself in that euphoric, inspired, motivated place where you're dreaming about doing handstand push-ups, going for a walk doesn't seem exciting or motivating in any way. You're like, you lose track of what you're actually here to do. Why is all of this coming out of my mouth? The point that I actually began with when I was contemplating, I was like, what do I want to tell people today? Is like, don't give up on your little dreams, because if you're working on something, whether it's successful or not, there's so many extra benefits. And this is what will actually encourage you. When you start to reframe the way that you think about things, instead of looking at like the absolute pinnacle of success, the idealistic future version of yourself, just think of the little benefits that you're going to get every day. Like for me making these videos, I'm practicing my communication. I am probably expanding my vocabulary. I am getting better at thinking on my feet. I'm getting better at like so many things, and that has and will continue to affect every aspect of my life. Job interviews now, you know how quickly I can answer a question, like how quickly I can formulate a really detailed response. Like, sure, I can't make a 1 hour long perfect video essay with so much depth and nuance and humor, super funny jokes, and like just like make this perfect video in one take, which is an unreasonable expectation of yourself for anybody. But there's another crazy thing to consider as well. You've got to have those unreasonable expectations in there as well, because if I didn't have that picture of like the ideal, like what I could potentially achieve someday, why would I be doing the little steps? My point isn't to like disregard the future completely and just wander through aimlessly, just like practicing random stuff. Like, have the picture, but focus here in front of you at the next step. Once you realize the skills that you're actually developing by pursuing your dreams, don't stop there. Capitalize on those skills. Utilize them in new and unique ways, and you'll find a really interesting thing happens. Like if I do put myself in more situations where I've got to use my communication skills outside of just making these videos, the videos improve too. So this is a really big secret, right? This is a realization that just goes, whoa, like I can do so much more. For example, if you were an artist who does illustrations and you had become proficient in like digital media, then you took on a bunch of clients making logos and stuff. That seems like it's not connected, but it actually might teach you some business skills. And then those business skills will help you convert more sales of your actual artwork. One of the best things I ever did is so random, but I've been making videos in front of the camera for about 7 years, over 7 years. I've been making videos behind the camera for 15 years. A lot of my early experiences with content were bringing other people's visions to life. I did like a whole bunch of charity stuff. I did a whole bunch of like sports stuff. I did a whole bunch of music stuff. But the one where I learned the most was actually in the tattoo industry. I just thought like tattoos are a place where there's like heaps of cash flow. It's really cool. It's easy to make it look awesome on camera. Like there's literally no effort. You just point the camera at it and people are like, whoa, tattoos. So I went into a tattoo shop and I was like, look, I will like 10x, 100x your following, your presence on social media. Give me a week to show you kind of thing. And then I did it. But in that shop, I watched how to actually turn a lead into a paying customer over and over again. And that was just like the most invaluable experience that I ever had because I was so close to it. In fact, one of the things that happened was I started working in the reception side of things as well, and I was actually the one that was converting the leads to sales, and I had never actually done that before. So when you start to think of the pursuit of your dreams as a multifaceted thing, and you don't get so myopic about it, like I need to be this picture here, and you start to like move into all these different directions. And this is another theme that's recurring in the videos as well. I think it's really good to be mindful with yourself, and if you're watching this channel, of the themes that develop. Like if there's something that keeps coming up over and over again, that's something that you should contemplate a bit deeper. And the theme that keeps coming up that I just expressed is that like it's better to do like a myriad of things, like heaps of different stuff. I've talked about it with career and study as well. Like don't just have a job, have like 4 different sources of income that are happening at once. One, it gives you the security, but the most important thing in this moment that I'm thinking about is it gives you the flexibility of learning. Like you are now experiencing 4 times the knowledge. Like you're exposed to stuff that you wouldn't be exposed to otherwise. If you're just doing one thing at a time, it's really good if you want to specialize. Like if you want a career in cybersecurity or something, you sit at that laptop or you sit at that device and you code your little heart out and you become the best cybersecurity expert ever. But if you're more like fluid and so there's like, let's just be really simplistic right now. I don't like to do that, but there's like 2 kinds of people, right? There's like the hyper-focused, like analytical thinkers that just want to make a path and do it. Like you could be that cybersecurity expert. And then there's like more creative, like airy-fairy, flowy types. And you know how much I hate the fact that I'm the creative type. And I'm sure that everybody wishes that they were the other thing and they think the other thing would be easier. Like, oh, it'd be so much easier if I was like, just like I had a path that I could just follow and stick to it and it made sense. And then the people that have the boring, like, well, no, that's a judgment. The path where you just do your one thing and you do it really well. I probably wish that they could be more creative and explore more things and artistic stuff and meet new people and, you know, dabble in all of these different things. Like we all wish that we could do the other thing that we're not doing. It's the same with like, as random as it is, like people with curly hair always wish they had straight hair growing up, and people with like straight hair always wish they had curly hair. Like it's always like the grass is always greener. It's one of those little sayings that rings true throughout time. Like, because whatever you're doing right now, you already have a taste of that. So you always want to experience what else is available. Or maybe that's just the creative person's curse. Like maybe that's just what happens if you've got a mind like this, like, or a temperament like this. Like you just want to. And I guess that's what happens with the motivation thing. Like that's why, oh my goodness, the realization has just expanded in the present moment. So not only do we focus on that idealistic future vision, like we might look at the Tony Robbins and be like, yeah, motivation, inspiration, but that escapism can actually grow and infect our whole being. Like, because you won't just pick one, will you? If you've got a mind like that. Like in the past, now I can see, I actually escaped into every possible version of my ideal self. I was looking at like so many possibilities like that like I'm not really doing that anymore, but it's just come to my awareness. And I guess that's where a lot of you guys would be at, if you're not focused yet, if you're not on a bit of a path, and you're just like, I want to be that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy, and I want to blend them all together and be like this super person, when, you know, one of those ideal versions of a person that you're using as a idol, like, they spent their whole life, every waking minute, developing that identity, that way of being. Sure, you can take the influences from all the different people and like kind of forge your own version of all of it, but if you had like 10 different like idols to escape into their like thing and say like, yeah, these are all the things that I want to be, and that you would just never get back to the present moment. You would never get to the step that's in front of you. You'd just constantly be thinking like, you'd just be in this like euphoric like state of inspired land where like everything is possible. You just can't live there. You can't get anything done when you're in that place. And that's like the thing with this channel. Like, I bring it back to that step one. I bring it back down to earth. Like, we're here right now. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm working on. These are the challenges that I'm facing. Whatever it is, that's just not exciting. Like, that's why this grows so slowly, because people don't want that step one. People want all of it now. Now. I don't want to wait. I just want to experience. And unfortunately, the convenience culture that we live in exacerbates that. I talk about that all the time as well. That's another theme. So it's a lot to think about in this video. A lot of editing, I feel. I feel like I'm going to have to chop a little bit of this out, because I'm like, I feel like because I'm talking about the big giant picture, it's kind of like, yeah, taking me off in a bunch of different directions. But sometimes it's better to have a little bit less structure. If I have every single video just super structured, then I can't grow. I need to let myself loosen up a little bit and not hold myself to these ridiculous standards of that ideal future version of myself that can freestyle a 1 hour long video essay that just captivates you. Eventually I will do that though, but I won't have to freestyle it, you know? The reason why I'm practicing in this way is so that when I do sit down at some point and start to make more detailed content, like, I have spent the hours practicing, and I practice publicly because then people can give me feedback on what I'm saying, and they can say, this makes sense, that makes sense, this is what's landing, this kind of content's actually making me think. That's what I want. I want to make content that makes people think. I don't want to tell you anything. I just want to say stuff that makes you think about what's going on in your world. If you get anything out of the videos, or if anything is coming to your awareness, please comment it down below, because you never know. People might bounce off your thoughts and feelings even better than my thoughts and feelings. The comment section is an extension of this content. We are collaborating in this process. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Click the like button for me, and please pass any of the videos on to others who may benefit. Send them a message, leave it on their Facebook wall. I don't even know all the apps that are available these days because I don't want to.